Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Kathy Case and I am a North Carolina independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I wanted to tell you first off that the voice and the picture do not match. And that is because I started recording this video and went through the whole video and had my camera on mute. So I've had to go back and do a voiceover on this video. I hate voiceovers. So I apologize in advance for this, but it was a good video and I hated to lose everything that I had already provided for y'all. So I am doing a funfold side step card using the Storybook Gnomes stamp set dies and the whole suite. So bear with me through this voiceover as I tell you and explain to you what I'm doing. So, like I said, we're going to use the Storybook Gnome Suite. Here is the card, the side step card, using the Storybook Gnomes stamp set and dies in the paper. The techniques that I'm using in this card is fussy cutting, die cutting, heat emboss, and just stamping. So I'm showing you all the things that I'm doing. So there's the card. It's got a front and a back, and it stands up really nicely. It has 3 steps on the left and the large panel on the right. Okay, so here is the paper that I'm using, and it is the Storybook Gnomes 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. So I used 2 prints of the snowflakes for my card. And then this sheet here is where I fussy cut all the critters that you see on the card. Very cute paper. The coordinating dies also cut some of the images out on the paper. I love it when Stampin' Up! Does that. So you will need first I'm going to show you the catalog. This is the catalog that started, the mini catalog that started in July and goes through December of 2022. And the Storybook Gnome Suite collection is on page 42. So we've got the stamp set, Kindest Gnome stamp set, and the gnome dies. We've got some balmy blue and white 3/8 of an inch ribbon that goes with that suite, fine sparkle adhesive back gems. We've got puff paint, and of course the Storybook Gnomes 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. Again, that's on page 42. So you do not have to remember the cutting dimensions and measurements and all that. If you will head over to my blog at www.spectacularcreations.com, I have that all out ready for you. I've got the PDF of the diagram for the cutting instructions, and my recipe is all on my website. So don't worry about remembering the cutting directions or anything like that, because I have that on a PDF for you. So you will need a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. I'm using Night of Navy. And this is the PDF for the side step card that you can download. And at the top it says 5.5 by 8.5. So we're going to cut this on the 11-inch side at 5.5. And that will give you 2 card bases. You can either make 2 cards or you can save the other half for a different project. Okay, so we're going to start on the 5.5-inch side and put the paper in at our 3-inch mark. And I'm showing you the ruler on the side. We're going to start at 1 inch and cut down to 6.5. And what I've done is I've put a piece of white tape on the underside of my ruler so I can see the markings a little bit better, because they're really hard to see when you use dark cardstock. So put your paper in at 3 inches and put your cutting blade at 1, and then set it, and then pull down to 6.5. Okay, now you're going to flip it. You've got a 2.5-inch side and a 3-inch side. This is how we're going to refer to this from now on. So now on the 3-inch side, you're going to put your paper in at 4.5 or 4.25. I think it's 4.25. Place your paper in at 4.25, and you're going to score down to your cut line, 4.25. Okay, now you're going to flip it to the 2-inch side, 2.5-inch side, and you're going to put your paper in at 1 inch and score down to the cut line. And I'm just showing you, there's the cut line. Then you're going to move it over to 2 inches and score down to the cut line. Now move it over to the 3.25 inch mark. And score down to the cut line. Move over to 4.5 and pull down to the score line, to the cut line. Extend your arm on your trimmer and place your paper over at 6.5. This is just your last score line. And score down to the cut line. So that's basically your card base. Your 6.5 should be at the top of the cut line, and your 1 inch should be at the bottom of your cut line. So now we're going to fold this fun fold up. So I pre-fold the right side just a little bit so I can have room to maneuver the left side. Now we're going to do a mountain fold and a valley fold, and you're going to start with the mountain fold. So you're going to do mountain and then valley, then mountain, valley, mountain, and you're going to end with mountain. Then take your bone folder and crease your lines really well. Okay, that's our card base. Now I've pre-cut all the things and pre-stamped all my elements for this card. So you're going to need your designer series paper for the front side of the card, which is 4 by 2 3/4, and the white piece that goes on the back is also 4 by 2 3/4. So we're going to glue this, and I'm going to fight with this glue for just a minute. It's empty, so I'm going to open a new one in just a second. Okay, there we go. I like to use liquid glue because it gives me time to get everything centered, because I'm not too good at getting things centered usually the first time. So you want an equal border all the way around. So we're going to, we have stamped our back sentiment, which would normally be your inside sentiment on a regular card. So now I'm showing you the stamp set. Kindest Gnomes. You've got 4 gnomes that you can stamp in color. You've got a mushroom you can stamp in color, and 4 sentiments. And now the dies on the inside that I have on the inside are just called gnome dies. It cuts out the stamped images. All 4 will individually cut out the stamped images. You've got the mushroom that will you can cut out the stamped image. It also coordinates on the DSP. You can cut a mushroom out on the DSP. This is a clean mount stamp set, which has stickers, which I haven't adhered mine yet. So we've got mushrooms, and we've got grass, and we've got a separate die that will cut out a whole gnome out of different cardstock colors. So that's the stamp set. And again, if you want to order that, you can head over to my blog and hit the Shop Now button. So we're gluing the sentiment on the back of the card. And here I'm explaining to you that you could either have your steps on the left side or you can have your steps on the right side. If you wanted the steps on the right side, you would just fold it the opposite way as we just did. So I'm getting out all my little parts and pieces so we can get this card going. You will need that one little small piece of DSP, which is 2 3/8 by 7/8, and you're just going to glue it to the front. And I'm just double checking that I cut it correctly, because sometimes I don't. I think we've all been there. So again, liquid glue so I can get it nice and centered. And then you've got 2 white panels at 1 1/4 by 2 3/8, and the other one is 2 by 2 3/8. So we're going to use the smaller one on the, I guess we're going to call that the second step. We just glued the first step, now we're going to glue the second step. And it's okay to make your panels a little bit longer. I kind of like them hanging over a little bit because it's a background. And you can lay it down flat to glue it. Just make sure you're gluing it in the correct spot. Okay, there's step 2. Now we're going to glue step 3. That panel again for the third step is 2 by 2 3/8. And again, I just check it and make sure I've got the right cutting measurements for the third step. Okay. Now we've got the mushroom. I did use the die to cut this one out from the DSP. So here I'm explaining that you don't want this mushroom to hang over the top or it won't fit in the envelope. So you want to make sure you know where you're gluing it before you glue it down. And then you also want to make sure that it's not hanging over on the side, because it will not fit in the envelope. So I'm going to put glue on the very bottom of the mushroom. And I like to have the card closed so I can tell And I'm flipping it over, make sure I don't have any glue on the back hanging over. Double checking that it will fit in the envelope. And now I've got the mousse. Now on the paper, you've got two mousses, one pointing to the left and one pointing to the right. If you have the one pointing to the left, you want to put him on the second step. If you have the one that's pointing to the right, you want to put him on the first step. The mousse on the pointing to the left, you can kind of slide him under the right side panel, but you can't for the other one. That's the reason why we choose which step on which facing mousse we adhere. So I'm going to add some glue to his feet. And I keep picking up the empty one. This one has lots of glue coming out because it's brand new. So you see me taking off some of the glue with this piece of scrap because that's just too much glue. And then you want to make sure you throw that piece away so it doesn't get everywhere. So here you want to make sure his antlers are not hanging over the left side of the card so it will still fit in your envelope. And just stick him down. So now I'm looking for my little fox. Evidently my little fox is missing, which is a good thing because I can show you how to fussy cut. Okay, so I figured out I don't have a fox. So I'm going to take the critter sheet out and I'm going to show you how I cut a fox out of the critter sheet. So I just pick one and just cut a square. And I can't find my Stampin' Up! Snips. They're on this messy desk somewhere. So I'm using another pair that I use. I like my Stampin' Up! Snips a little bit better. So you want to cut really close to the edge of the critter, leaving a small border. And see how I'm moving the paper and not my scissors? This makes it much, much easier. And this can be very forgiving. You do not have to cut this exactly how the critter is shaped. You can get really close. And this was simple. This is the very easy fussy cutting. There's even a bird that's so tiny, but it's so easy to cut. So I'm going to glue this to the first step, and I'm only putting glue on the very bottom of the fox. So what I want to mention here is I'm staggering my focal points. So when it stands up, you will be able to see each one. And I'm showing you I cut out a piece of grass from the die set, and we're going to put him, I guess grass is a him. We're going to put the grass in front of the mousse, and we're only going to glue at the very bottom. And again, I got too much glue, so I wiped some of it off. Open it up so I could tell where my grass will fit. Okay, so now we're going to take our circle, which I used Versamark ink and silver embossing paste. I'm telling you, I want this on the left side of the right panel. So you'll only want to put glue on the right side of the circle or kind of sort of towards the middle. And just adhere it. Get it where your sentiment is level. And I used the layering circle dies for this, the scalloped, and then the regular circle, and just glued those together and glued them flat, no dimensionals. Okay, so now we're going to adhere our gnome. So I'm going to get out the dies and show you the dies for this, how to do this die, this gnome. We've got his hat, his beard, his nose, and his boots. So I used mint macaron for his hat, pool party for his boots, white for his beard, and blushing bride for his nose. And it's pretty simple on how to glue it together. And I usually just keep my dies with my stamp set unless it's something that can be used with other stamp sets. So what I'm showing here is I took a sponge dauber and added some interest to his hat, his beard, and his boots. So I did tone on tone. So the mint macaron, I used mint macaron ink and just shaded, put some interest with a sponge dauber on his hat. Pool party for his boots, and then I put some smoky slate on his beard just to give it a little bit of interest, and glued him together. So we're going to pop him up with some dimensionals. Remove the backings. And we're going to put him on the right side of the panel. And then we've got the little bird. See how easy and neat that looks? Fussy cutting, it was really easy. He's really cute. I love the critters on that sheet of paper. So we use a mini dimensional, and you can either glue him onto his hat or on the circle. I liked him on the circle. And there is our card. We're almost finished. We're going to add some of the fine sparkle adhesive backed gems. And there's 3 colors and 2 sizes to choose from. So what I have in my hand is a take your pick tool. This tool is so important. It's so easy to pick those gems up with the putty end. And I'm just going to place 3 in a triangular shape, in a triangular formation. Your eye likes to see odd numbers, and it likes to see things in a triangle pattern. So there is our card. It is a side step fun fold card using the Storybook Gnomes collection. And we're almost done. And like I said, thank you for putting up with me with this video and the voiceover and all that. If you would, it helps my channel tremendously. It helps other people see the videos when you just hit the like button and subscribe, because I'm going to come out with some videos here in the next little bit on the cards that I have made. I sure do appreciate y'all coming.